Today I arrived in the charming town of Perast, Montenegro. This small town is famous for its stunning Baroque architecture and two islets, Our Lady of the Rocks and St. George. Perast is one of those towns that looks too small to be important. It's just one street along the water, with stone houses, a few churches and boats slowly crossing the bay. But everything here feels heavy with history. A few hundred years ago, this was one of the richest and most respected towns of the Adriatic. Perast had its own fleet, its own captains, and its sailors were known across the sea. When Venus ruled this coast, they trusted Perast to protect their ships. And you look at it now, it's quiet, calm. And it's hard to imagine how alive it once was. Right in front of the town there are two islands. One is natural, St. George, with a monastery hidden behind cypress trees. The other, Our Lady of the Rocks, was built by people. According to legend, fishermen found an icon of the Virgin Mary on a reef here, and after every successful trip they threw stones into the water. Over time they created an island and built a church on top of it. It's still there, bright, blue-domed, beautiful. Inside, the walls are covered with silver plates, offering from sailors who survived storms. Every one of them tells a story. During Venetian times, no woman was allowed to live on St. George. The monastery kept strict rules, and the island stayed completely closed to the public. In storms, waves sometimes hit St. George so hard that parts of the old wall collapsed, and the monks rebuilt it again and again for centuries. Basically, every second house belonged to someone who spent half his life at sea. That's why you see all these big stone palaces. Most of them were built by families who got rich sailing for Venus. Some of these houses have family crests above the doors. That was their version of flexing back then. And Perast was only around 300 to 350 people living here, but it has 17 churches. Some of them are tiny, like one room with a bell, but it shows how religious and wealthy this place used to be. And this church tower you see, that's St. Nicholas Church from the 17th century. The bell tower is 55 meters tall and used to be one of the tallest in the entire Adriatic coast. It also has a clock that almost works, depending on the day. Montenegro, a country with a population of about 600,000 people and one of the youngest states in Europe, independent since 2006. The entire coastline is only around 300 kilometers long, but includes places like the Bay of Kotor, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Montenegro also has 5 national parks, including Durmitor, where Europe's deepest canyon, the Tar River Canyon, is located. The country uses the euro, even though it's not a part of the European Union. Tourism is a big part of the economy, especially around Kotor, Budva and Sveti Stefan. And despite its size, Montenegro has some of the most scenic mountain roads in Balkans. You can drive from the beach to 2000-meter peaks in under 2 hours. I'm in Montenegro right now, and I came to the small Etno village. It's called Njeguši. It's located on the mountains, approximately 1 kilometer above the sea level. And the reason why I come here is because a few years ago, one of my friends, he brought a prosciutto from here, from this place. And it was super delicious. It was amazing. I've never forget this taste. And I never tried this prosciutto like this anywhere. In the restaurants, in the stores, in the supermarket, there was nothing like this. It was completely different. And from this place, it was fantastic, unbelievable. I remember this taste for all my life. So I asked him
where he bought this prosciutto, and he showed me this place. It was like super small local store. It's just one guy making prosciutto. He has like a garage and make it homemade. So I come here and I found this place. I found this guy who's selling prosciutto, and I bought almost like 1 kilo, 2 pounds of prosciutto and some local cheese. And also I bought some red wine, also local from the farms. It's not even in a bottle, just in a plastic bottle, who made it by himself and packed it without any labels and something like this, just home wine. It's so nice. And I will bring it home to my friend and to me. So if you planning to visit Montenegro, I will save the name of the store in the description under this video, and come here, buy some prosciutto, some cheese, local wine, support local farmers. They will be happy, and you will be happy because the food is fantastic, it's unreal. Take it home, also eat it here, and you will remember this taste for all your life. I promise you, you will not regret it. This is the best prosciutto ever.
Pavlova strana is one of the most recognizable viewpoints in Montenegro. But the history of this place is much older than the road that leads here. This curve above the Rijeka Crnojevica valley was built in the late 19th century during the rule of King Nikola, when Montenegro needed a direct connection from the old royal capital, Cetinje, down to the river. At that time, Rijeka Crnojevica wasn't just a small village, it was the main trading center of the entire region. Boats from Lake Skadar arrived here with fish, wine, salt and goods from the Ottoman side, long before the coastal cities became popular. The viewpoint got its name from Pavel, a local guard who, according to the old stories, used this exact spot to monitor movements in the valley. From here you can see far in every direction, perfect for watching out for Ottoman patrols. This curve on the mountain road eventually became known as Pavlova strana, meaning Pavel's slope. In the summer, when the water plants grow thick, the river turns a deep green and the bend becomes so precisely shaped that locals call it the Montenegrin Amazon. Pavlova strana today is mostly known from drone shots and postcards, but the real value of this place is how compact Montenegro is. From this single viewpoint you see mountains, river, valley and the entrance to the largest lake in the Balkans, Lake Skadar, a protected national park with over 280 species of birds. This whole view, the bend, the lake, the mountains, is one of the best examples of Montenegro's landscapes. Ostrog Monastery is one of the most important religious sites in Montenegro and one of the most visited Orthodox monasteries in the Balkans. It was founded in the 17th century by Saint Basil of Ostrog, who later became the most venerated saint in Montenegro. What makes Ostrog unusual is its location. The monastery is built directly into a vertical limestone cliff, about 900 meters above sea level, overlooking the Zeta Valley. It consists of two parts, the lower monastery, where most visitors arrive, and the upper monastery, which is the original complex carved into the rock. The upper part can be reached by a steep road or on foot, and for centuries pilgrims walked the entire way barefoot. Saint Basil lived here and died in 1671. His remains are kept inside Upper Monastery and are believed by Orthodox Christians to be incorrupt. Because of this, Ostrog is not only an Orthodox site, Catholics and Muslims also come here, which is rare in this region. During its history, Ostrog survived Ottoman rule, earthquakes and wars. In World War II, a German bomb hit the monastery but did not explode. The shell is still kept on site as a historical record. The monastery has no fortifications and no defensive walls. It was never designed to be protected, despite being exposed on the cliff face. Right now we are up at Etno Selo Stavna. It's about 1800 meters up, right at the foot of the Komovi mountains. If you are planning to hike around this part of Montenegro, this is usually where you will end up staying. The place is basically just a bunch of small wooden cabins spread out on a big flat field. You've got the beautiful terraces staring right at the mountains, incredible home-cooked Montenegrin food using fresh local stuff, and it's the ultimate starting point for hiking these untouched trails. You've got the three main Komovi peaks right in front of you. They're huge, they're mostly just grey rock, and they look pretty intense compared to the green hills you drive through to get here. The cool thing about this spot is the access. You walk out of your cabin and the trail starts right there. There aren't any shops or big crowds, just the huts, a small restaurant and the mountains. It's a pretty simple setup. If you want to hike Kom Đurđevića, it takes a few hours from here to reach the top. Even if you aren't a climber, it's worth coming up, just to see how different the landscape looks compared to the coast. I'm driving north through Montenegro, toward Tara River. The road goes through small villages and open fields. There are sheep everywhere, just standing around and blocking the road. At one point there was even a chicken with the sheep, like it belonged there. The landscape slowly changes. Big pine trees start appearing, the air gets cooler, and the mountains feel closer. Long stretches with almost no houses, just forest, open land, and the road going forward. It's a quiet drive and you naturally slow down. This is the Đurđevića Tara Bridge. It was built in 1940, and at the time it was the largest concrete arch bridge in Europe. The bridge stands about 170 meters above the Tara River. During World War II, one of the arches was destroyed to stop Italian army, and later rebuilt in the same form. I spent a little time in the capital, Podgorica, just to see what it was about, but to be honest, I didn't find much there that held my interest. It felt like a place I could skip this time around, so I decided to keep moving. I knew the real soul of Montenegro was waiting for me further north, tucked away in the mountains. After 5 days of traveling across this incredible country, I finally reached the north. Behind me lies Crno Jezero, the Black Lake. Nestled in the heart of the Durmitor National Park, this is probably the most photographed spot in the country, and for good reason. It sits at an altitude of over 400 meters, right at the base of the massive Medved Peak. The locals call these glacial lakes mountain ice. There are 18 of them in this region, but Black Lake is the king. It's actually made of two separate lakes, the big and the small, connected by a narrow strait that dries up in the summer. The name Black Lake comes from the reflection of the dense, dark pine forest that surrounds us. Walking the 3.5-kilometer trail around the water, you feel the sheer scale of the Durmitor Mountains pressing in on you. It's cold, it's fresh, and it's unlike anything else in the Balkans. Now, looking back at this trip, I have to be honest with you, 5 days is just not enough. I tried to pack as much as I could into this itinerary, but Montenegro is deceptively deep. It's a tiny country, but it moves at its own pace, and it demands that you slow down. There were so many places I had on my list that I simply couldn't reach. I wanted to see the famous red roofs of Sveti Stefan and the lively old town of Budva. I wanted to climb the stairs to the Lovsin mausoleum, to see the world from above. I even missed Sipčanik, which is mind-blowing. It's the largest wine cellar in Europe, built inside an old underground military aircraft hangar. I didn't make it to the turquoise Bukomirsko Lake or the staggering Martinia Dam. It's a bit frustrating, but it's also a beautiful realization. It means there is still more to discover. It means I have a reason to come back. But even with the places I missed, I've seen enough to tell you this. Montenegro is something special. Is it the most developed country in the world? Maybe not. Is it most perfect? No. But for its size, it's incredibly impressive. It holds a unique spot on the world stage because it's raw. It hasn't been polished into a tourist theme park yet. And if you are looking for the soul of the country, the absolute highlight of the trip is right here. Of all the beaches, the canyons and the cities, Black Lake is the best place in Montenegro. There is an energy here, a stillness, that you won't find anywhere else. And this brings me to something I've been thinking about while sitting here. Timing is everything. In travel, as in life, when you see something matters just as much as what you see. If I had arrived here on a grey, rainy morning, I would have seen a dark, gloomy lake. My impressions would have been cold and damp. But look at this. I'm seeing this lake on a perfect, golden summer evening at sunset. This light, this warmth, this reflection, it turns a beautiful place into a magical one. It becomes a core memory. Our lives are made of these moments, these small flashes of beauty that stay with us forever. In the end, this is why we explore. The more beauty we witness and the more new experience we soak in, the more we have to carry with us into the future. I believe that the wealth of a person is measured by the quality of their memories. When we are old, these are the treasures we will count. The sunsets we watched, the mountains we climbed, and the silence of places like this. So, fill your life with as much beauty as you can. Don't just tick boxes on a map, wait for the magic. Montenegro, you've been amazing. You may be small, but you are mighty. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.